Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm good idea.
We're doing well. This is our Otji FM, and we are calling with that is the COVID-19 podcast. Yes, I hope you're enjoying your day. A beautiful morning out there. And without further ado, we have a few questions we'd like to ask you.
Okay, let's just jump right in.
Thank you very much. So yes, there has been a report that has been shown and that says Mike Yadon, a former chief scientist at Pfizer, said it was too late to save anyone who has been injected with a COVID-19 vaccine. Is this true? Is it credible information, or is it just one of those things that are made up? Do you know him? Are you aware of him?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Yadon. Yes, I mean, this is something that has been going around that we've seen in Namibian social media groups for the last few, I think it was at least from about March to April. This, the Mike Yadon video has been going around. And, I mean, the thing is, the information out there is available. And what he is saying, I mean, some of it is true, but, it is misleading. So people have to, at this stage, when we're seeing these sorts of videos, we have to be a lot more, how shall I say, a lot more careful about this. Because, I mean, he's making claims and saying things, and it's being spread through groups online that aren't credible. And, I mean, it's people have to be careful.
Yes.
Most of what he's saying is overblown and misleading.
And when we're talking about this, there's a usual old English saying that says, where there is fire, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Isn't that where people are taking this from? I mean, he was one of the people that were on the ground with this situation and all that. Shouldn't he be?
I mean, he worked for Pfizer years ago. I mean, I don't know what his history is with what's currently happening around the vaccines. So I mean, he isn't in the space. I mean, as I understand it, I mean, I was reading up on him a while ago. I might be speaking under correction. He's out of the industry a while already, way before COVID-19 arrived on the scene. So how involved he is in current processes and what he has to say about it. I mean, it seems to me that these are things that people have to look at. This here is a former chief scientist at Pfizer now making opinions about vaccines and so on.
Definitely. And there's also a lot of questions questioning the speed at which this vaccine was created at. I mean, it's just almost a year and a half now, and they have already a vaccine that they claim that it works and all this. And a lot of people first in the beginning assumed, or at least that was what the information was provided, was that you only need one shot, and now it's a thing of a yearly dose of something like the normal cold and flus we have here. And what's with that now?
Look, I mean, the thing is that this is a novel coronavirus. So the lessons are being learned as as the science develops, as the pandemic is ongoing. So the good thing about this, from sort of scientific vaccine science point of view, is that vaccines could actually be created while a pandemic is ravaging the world, and that's part of the reason why vaccines could have been developed so quickly. I mean, within a few months, for instance, the Chinese had developed by mid last year already. The Chinese had developed vaccines that they've been testing since then. The Sinopharm and Sinovac vaccines, and others have followed suit after that, sort of in the same year producing these vaccines. Now, they have very simple explanations for why this happened, and these explanations are available on the World Health Organization's website, on the web pages of the Johns Hopkins University. I actually like their explanations more than I like the World Health Organization and the CDC explanations. But all of these organizations give very simple explanations for how this happened, and why there is nothing mysterious about vaccine development being sped up and so forth. So I mean, there is nothing. How shall I say? If you look at these explanations, there is nothing mysterious or nothing suspicious about how this happened. So I mean, and that's always what I want to encourage people. Go and look at what the authoritative sources are saying.
Yes.
What the medical experts are saying. They can provide the answers for why things are happening. Stop listening or engaging with dubious content online from people who you don't know what their credentials are.
Yes.
You know, these voice notes of people who aren't identified, who are making statements spread around in WhatsApp groups. These video clips on other social media platforms of people wearing white coats making statements. You know, because the person is wearing a white coat doesn't mean they're a doctor or an expert.
Definitely.
So I mean, people really ought to be. I mean, we're a year into this, more than a year into this. People really ought to be more discerning at this point about the content they're engaging with. Because I mean, we've seen so much of this that any more of this is just. I don't know how to say.
No. I think we're getting where you're going with this, and there's also one other question that people have been asking or making statements like the West people. A lot of the population of the Western countries are refusing to take a lot of this. Vaccines, and we have seen a decline in certain states of the United States specifically where a lot of their vaccines are just sitting and people refuse to go for the second dose or whatever. And African countries or the third world countries, most of them feel that why should we have to take it if they who made it or created it don't really want to take any of it? What do you say in response to that? What would you say to comfort Africans or people from third world countries?
People really ought to stop looking at what's happening in the US. That's purely US politics. And COVID-19 and the vaccines have become a political issue in that country. People really ought to stop paying attention to what's happening there. Those people have their own problems that they need to deal with. That has nothing to do with the safety of vaccines. So, I mean, I often find it strange that these sorts of arguments, where people make these sorts of claims. I mean, the West is being vaccinated. They are fast approaching herd immunity levels, or what should be herd immunity levels, and the rest of the world is falling behind. And look at what's happening in India. India can't vaccinate fast enough. What is happening there is a massive catastrophe at the moment. So I mean, if we want, India should be a case study for what could happen in Africa if we don't get vaccinated. And this is exactly what the Africa CDC and the Africa World Health Organization officers are saying. They've expressed concern about what is happening in India could very possibly happen in parts of Africa, and then what are we going to do?
Yes.
Our health systems are not in the position to take in thousands and millions of COVID-19 sufferers and to deal with to have the resources to help people through the infection. So I mean. If you have access to a vaccine, if you can get it, I would encourage you to take it. I have been vaccinated, and I mean I have not experienced any side effects from any of the vaccines. Most of my family have been vaccinated. Nobody has experienced side effects from any of the vaccines. Some have taken the AstraZeneca vaccine, Covishield vaccine. Some have taken the Sinopharm vaccine, the Chinese vaccine, but nobody has experienced, side effects. If people want to get back to normal, or some sort of normal, we need to act responsibly, and I mean stop listening to the nonsense that is coming out of the US, because that is pure politics.
Well, thank you definitely for answering and quenching all our thirst and all our questions we had for you, Mr. Frederico. We really appreciate your knowledge on this specific topic, and it's a pleasure to listen to you talk about this.
Yeah, I would encourage people, please, to go, if they have any questions, go to the expert site. If you can, go and look at what they are saying on these things. There are sections on these websites that provide answers that speak to most of the concerns that people have around the vaccines. So please, we should encourage people to go to the expert sources, to go and, if they have questions, to go and get the answers there, and not these these nameless voice notes and videos on social media platforms.
Well, definitely.
So it's been a pleasure.
Definitely great advice to not just listen to anybody that's not creditable, but find the credible sources.
Exactly.
Yes, again, thank you very much, Mr. Frederico, for your time. We highly appreciate it here, and thank you for everything.
It's a pleasure.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Frederico, our expert that deals with, that is the COVID-19 and all of that. And definitely now we know what we should know